Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into something that so many people get stuck in, especially men. It's this weird trap where you do everything right, you're the good guy, but you end up feeling, well, pretty unappreciated and unhappy. We're unpacking the big ideas from Dr. Robert A. Glover's classic book, No More Mr. Nice Guy.
So let me ask you something straight up. Do you see yourself as a nice guy? You know, a lot of guys really do. It's this whole identity, right? You're giving, you're generous, you're the one who keeps the peace. But if that's you, then I've got to ask,
Why do you so often end up feeling frustrated, resentful, and just plain unhappy? See, that's the big paradox here. It's the core of what's called the nice guy syndrome. You're following all the rules, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but you're just not getting the good stuff back. Not the love, not the appreciation, not the happiness you were pretty sure you earned.
I mean, listen to this. This is a quote from a guy named Jason right at the start of the book, and it just hits so hard. He does everything for his wife, gets the baby ready in the morning, cleans the kitchen, you name it. And all he gets back is criticism. He feels totally unappreciated. And his plea, man, it just captures that core frustration perfectly.
all right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the nice guy paradox itself. Then we'll get into the anatomy of a nice guy, what that really means. We'll dig into the origins of nice, which are pretty surprising. After that, we'll talk about the goal, becoming an integrated male. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to actually reclaim your power. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the nice guy paradox. This is all about the myth, the belief system that keeps guys totally stuck.
So here's the official definition. Dr. Glover calls the nice guy syndrome a core belief. If you're good, you'll be loved. Your needs will be met, and life will be smooth sailing. But here's the thing. He calls it a flawed life strategy. Think of it like a mental roadmap that promises you a great destination if you just follow the rules of being good. The only problem? The map is wrong, and it's leading you straight to frustration, not fulfillment.
All right, let's dissect this. What does a nice guy really look like? Because this is where it gets really interesting. It's all about the huge difference between what you think you are and how you really behave.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got how nice guys see themselves. Giving, peacemaking, generous. You know, they hate conflict. But the reality, well, it's not so nice. That giving is often dishonest because it's really giving to get. It's secretive, it's manipulative, and avoiding conflict just means you're hiding what you really feel and think.
So this all leads to some really specific characteristics. You've got the constant need for approval from other people, you're avoiding conflict like the plague, you're hiding any little flaw or mistake, you're analyzing your feelings instead of actually feeling them. And of course, you have a really hard time making your own needs a priority. And that last one is fascinating, isn't it? So many nice guys are actually more comfortable relating to women than to other men, and it all goes back to their upbringing.
So the big question is, where does this all come from? How is a nice guy even made? Because Dr. Glover is super clear on this. It is not a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism. And it almost always starts way back in childhood.
And it's basically a heartbreaking three-step process. It starts with some form of childhood abandonment. Now, this doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be emotional neglect or just a really critical parent. Then, step 2, the child's mind, because it's so self-centered, comes to the wrong conclusion. It thinks, there must be something wrong with me. That's what's called toxic shame. And finally, step 3, to cope, the kid creates the nice guy persona. It's a shield, a way to hide that shame and hopefully prevent ever being abandoned again.
And this quote really says it all. Becoming a nice guy is a way of coping with situations where it does not feel safe or acceptable for a boy or man to be just who he is. So the key takeaway here is that the nice guy isn't the real you. It's a mask. It's a strategy that a little kid came up with just to feel safe in a world that felt scary or like love was conditional.
And what's the result of all that? It's this one core belief, this paradigm. If I can just hide my flaws and become what I think other people want me to be, then I'll be loved, I'll get my needs met, and my life will be problem-free. This single idea, it becomes like the faulty operating system running in the background of a nice guy's entire adult life. It controls everything.
Okay, so we spent a lot of time on the problem. Let's talk about the solution. How do you break free?
It's really important to get this. The goal is not to become a jerk. The goal is to become an integrated male, someone who's whole, authentic, and real.
So what is an integrated male? Well, he's a man who can accept all parts of himself. His power, his assertiveness, his courage, but also his imperfections, his mistakes, even his dark side. He doesn't have to hide anything anymore. He accepts his strengths and his flaws. He just owns it. He owns his power, his needs, his sexuality, all without shame and without apologizing for it. He's just himself.
And here's what that actually looks like in real life. An integrated man has a strong sense of self. He actually likes himself just as he is. He takes full responsibility for getting his own needs met. He's comfortable with his masculinity and his sexuality. He has real integrity, meaning he does what's right, not just what's easy or what's going to make people happy. And he can be nurturing, sure, but he doesn't do caretaking. You know that old toxic pattern of giving just to get something in return?
Okay, that sounds great, right? But how do you actually get there? This section is all about actionable strategies. It's about how you reclaim your power by breaking those old, tired patterns and building new, much stronger ones.
This, right here, is the absolute core of the entire change. It's a massive shift in perspective. The nice guy paradigm is all about seeking external validation. You're always looking to others for approval. The integrated male paradigm, it's about developing internal self-approval. It's the difference between asking, do they like me, and finally starting to ask, do I like me? That's the whole game. So, strategy number 1, make your needs a priority. Seriously, you have to stop caretaking and break free from what Dr. Glover calls covert contracts. These are those sneaky, unspoken deals you make where you give and give, but you have this secret expectation that you're going to get something back. And that behavior, it's a trap that always leads to a really destructive cycle.
And here is that cycle. He calls it the victim triangle. It's so recognizable once you see it. Phase 1, you're the caretaker. You're thinking, I give so much to get what I want. Then, phase 2, when you don't get it, you become the victim. But I get so little back, I feel so resentful. And finally, phase 3, all that resentment builds up until it spills out. And you become the persecutor, lashing out in anger or passive aggression. It's a vicious loop.
This next quote is so powerful because it's about the second major strategy. Your feelings are just feelings. They won't kill you. I mean, think about that. Nice guys are often terrified of strong emotions, their own and other people's. But realizing that feelings are just, well, feelings, that's the gateway to reclaiming your power. You have to learn to feel them without judging them or running from them.
So strategy number 2 is to reclaim your personal power. And you do that with these 4 pillars. First, surrendering. That just means letting go of what you can't control. Second, expressing feelings, speaking your truth directly and honestly. Third, facing fears and realizing that most of the time it's just memory fear. It's an echo from childhood, not a real threat today. And finally, and this is so huge, setting boundaries. This is whether you decide what you will and will not tolerate. Boundaries are how you stop being a victim and literally teach other people how you expect to be treated.
And I think this really sums it all up. The journey from nice guy to integrated male is not about becoming a bad person. It's not about becoming a jerk. It's about becoming a whole person. It's about moving from a fake persona to a real person. It's about finally dropping the mask and embracing who you really are. All of it. The messy parts, the powerful parts, all of it.
So that leaves us with one last question to chew on, and it might be the most important one of all. What kind of life could you actually create if you finally stop trying to please everyone else and you put yourself first? What becomes possible when you decide to break free for good? That's really something to think about.